What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog. Another fun video for you guys. Let's look at an Izzet list that's built around Mizzium Tank. Mizzium Tank is 1 red for a 3/2 artifact vehicle, has Trample, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Mizzium Tank becomes an artifact creature and gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and the crew cost is 1. So you can either crew this and it becomes a 3/2 with Trample, or you can cast any non-creature spell, instant, sorceries, whatever, and it becomes a creature, and you don't even have to crew it, and it gets +1/+1. So it's a pretty nice bonus, especially with some of the spells we're going to be casting here. Izzet has some nice, cheap, efficient spells that work really well. So going over the deck here, we got 4 Opt, just a nice 1-mana instant to scry and draw a card, so we can kind of fix our draw, find something else that we're looking for, and kind of keep going from there. 4 Pteramander is a nice 1-drop on turn 1 with as a 1/1 flyer, so we can kind of start chipping in for damage in the air in the early turns, and we can, as 1 power, we can crew the Mizzium Tank with it if we need to, and since we are running so many instants and sorceries, we also have the ability to adapt, as it costs 8 to adapt, which is pretty steep. The adapt is 4, so it would become a 5/5 flyer, which is pretty powerful in the mid to late game. However, it costs 1 less for each instant and sorcery in your graveyard. So by the time you're ready to adapt this, it's probably going to be like maybe 3 or 4, and that's pretty sweet option in the late game. 4 Infuriate, since we do have some Trample in the deck, as a 1-mana instant, target creature gets +3/+2 until end of turn. So just a nice little combat trick. Since we are pretty low on the power with our creatures, we can kind of go in for the attacks, and our opponent will have to kind of figure out if they want to block or not. And if they fall for it, we can just Infuriate and clear out their creature, and if it's something with Trample, then we can trample through for damage and get rid of their creature. So that works really well in a lot of situations. 4 Shocks, just being able to do damage to any target, so we can kind of clear out early turn creatures, or we can also just go face to kind of help us close out game. 4 Callous Dismissals, as a way to bounce any non-land permanent to its owner's hand, and amass 1, so we can use the 1/1 zombie token as a chump blocker while we're getting the rest of our stuff set up and attacking with our Mizzium Tanks and things like that, or we can just use the 1-powered zombie token to crew our Mizzium Tank, and of course Callous Dismissal will trigger the Mizzium Tank as well. And it's another way for us to kind of deal with planeswalkers or large creatures, things like that. They're out of reach of things like Shock. A couple Glimpse of Freedom as just more card draw, as a 2-mana instant to draw a card, and with Escape 2 in blue, exile 5 of the cards from our graveyard. So probably going to be using that too often, but if the game kind of drags on a little bit, it does give us some option to kind of repeatedly draw cards. 4 Burning Prophets as a 1/3 for 1 in red. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, a Burning Prophet gets +1/+0 until end of turn, and scry 1. So being able to scry in this kind of deck is really powerful, because we want to make sure that we get exactly what we need when we need it. So whether that's a Shock or a Callous Dismissal or another creature, things like that, we want to be able to fix our draws and just kind of keep going and close out the game quickly. Another way to help us do that is Dreadhorde Arcanist as a 1/3 for 1 in red as well. This one does have Trample, and whenever it attacks, you may cast target instant and sorcery card with converted mana cost less than or equal to its power from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. And we do have several 1-mana spells in here, so basically we'll be attacking with Dreadhorde Arcanist. Even if it's just a 1/3, we get to cast one of those spells for free. We don't have to pay for its mana cost. Of course, that card does get exiled, so we can't just keep doing that repeatedly. It does have Trample though, so it works well with things like Infuriate. And yeah, just a really powerful engine here, since we are trying to cast a lot of non-creature spells. And some more removal here is a couple Lava Coils and a couple Scorching Dragonfires. Lava Coil just kind of goes a little taller, as it deals 4 damage to a creature, and Scorching Dragonfire only deals 3 damage. It does have the flexibility to hit planeswalkers as well. And either way, those if the creature or planeswalker dies, then they will be exiled, so that's a pretty nice upside there. There's definitely lots of things you want to exile, so you don't have to worry about them bringing it back from their graveyard with Escape or something like that. And the mana base, we've got 22 lands, there's 7 islands, 7 mountain. Of course, all 4 steam vents, and then the scry and fixing of Temple of Epiphany works really well. That's why we're not running Fabled Passage. I think just trying to keep it as simple as possible works much more efficiently. And sideboard, we got 3 Stern Dismissals, as for 1-mana instant, we can return a creature or enchantment an opponent controls to its owner's hand. So unlike Unsummoned, we can't target our own creatures, but this does extend to enchantments as well. So there are plenty of enchantments we might want to stall our opponent out on, and this just kind of bounces it back to their hand. And just having any kind of cheap interactions to slow our opponent down and to trigger our Prowess, a Burning Prophet. Dreadhorde Arcanist can replay this again for free, and triggering our Mizzium Tank. That's all what this deck is all about. 3 Aether Gust to kind of help us deal with the powerful red and green spells as we can bounce it back to their library. A couple of negates for those mid-range and control matchups. Same thing with Mystical Dispute, as we can counter target spell unless the controller pays 3, and it costs 2 less to cast if it targets a blue spell. So in those matchups when we sideboard in, it's just going to be a 1-mana counter spell for the most part. And a couple Act of Treasons, 3 mana sorcery, gain control of target creature until end of turn, untap that creature, and it gains haste. So if our opponent's playing some big powerful creatures, we won't have any other way to deal with them, out of reach of shock, lava coil, things like that. Right, let's bring in Act of Treason. It triggers our Prowess triggers for the Mizzium Tank and things like that. And we get control of their big creatures, so we get to be the ones attacking in with it, and their opponent forces our opponent into some bad blocks, or they've tapped out on the creatures and they take a bunch of damage. I've closed out some games this way, so this works really well in certain matchups. And for opponents going wide, we got a couple of Flame Sweeps. Instant speed, we can deal 2 damage to each creature except for creatures you control with flying. So flying, so it's not going to hit our Pteramander at all. And we have 3 toughness on our Burning Prophet and Dreadhorde Arcanist, so it's not going to affect them as well. And of course, it'll trigger Mizzium Tank, which gets a boost from its toughness as well. So all of our creatures are basically safe from the Flame Sweep, so it works really well against those kind of low to the ground, go wide strategies. And for those life gain decks, we got just 1 Tibalt as a 3 mana, 5 loyalty planeswalker. Your opponents can't gain life. And -2 to create a 1/1 red devil creature token with. Whenever this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. So just kind of a way to slow down those life gain decks a little bit. So in typical Izzet fashion, we kind of want to close out this game quickly and not let the game drag on too long. So we're trying to set up our board quickly with creatures, and then we can follow it up with powerful spells to kind of trample through, shock through, things like that, and kind of close out the game. So Prowess just kind of refers to casting non-creature spells. Alright, here we are up against Chris Cotton 27. Alright, Arena Standard best of 3. We are on the play. How about that? Hand's not great, but we do have Opt, Shock, and our Mizzium Tank. So we'll give it a try. So we can scry for another land. That works. Now we're just looking for like a Burning Prophet or a Dreadhorde Arcanist. Up against black. Knight of Tibalt. We're going to shock that immediately. Scrying. Save the op for later on. I think we'll just go for Mizzium Tank here, unless they present something else that we feel like we have to kill right away. Opponent with second swamp and go. So we'll take it on some kind of mono blacklist. Okay. Let's see if they have removal here. Taking their sweet time. Looks like they probably have a Murder or a Murderous Rider. So we're probably looking for a creature here. Burning Prophet. We'll take that. And if they kill it, then we'll just drop our Burning Prophet and kind of go from there. Our opponent playing it smartly. Waiting until combat. That's technically how you're supposed to do it. No? So now we have to wonder if they have maybe a Ritual of Soot or something. We'll play it out. The Ritual of Soot is only going to kill the Burning Prophet as the Mizzium Tank goes back to being an artifact. So not sure what our opponent is holding on to so dearly. And they do nothing. Okay. So I don't know if they're just on full control mode or what their instant speed effect that they're holding on to is. I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. Wasn't a removal cell because they didn't take out the Mizzium Tank. Okay, we do have the Scorching Dragonfire to deal with this Dread presence, so they're not going to get any value off of that. Got plenty of lands. How much damage can we do here? Let's opt first, see if we may find another Infuriate. Pteramander. Pteramander's decent, but I think at this point it's a little late. Burn. I think we're just looking for another spell here to try to close out this game. I mean, the Arcanist is pretty good. So we're representing 3 and 5, that's 8. 8. Infuriate would be 3, 11. And we each get another boost, that'd be 13, so they're 3 off of lethal. So I think we'll just attack as is and play the Arcanist. And just hope they don't have a sweeper. It's a nice thing about Mizzium Tanks, so it'll survive any sorcery speed sweepers. Alright, there we go. We just hit them hard and fast, and they were not able to keep up. So I have no idea what they were holding priority for in the earlier turns. Okay, so they showed us Knight of Ebon Legion and Dread Presence. So obviously they're in mono black. Unless they just got super unlucky with their second land, but Dread Presence usually implies heavily in black because you want to play lots of swamps. So I think we want Stern Dismissal here. And we'll shave off of these guys, bring in the Stern Dismissal so we can bounce Knight of Ebon Legion that's gotten too big. And they're in black, so they can have a bunch of removals, so maybe negates. The Act of Treason is tempting, but they haven't really showed us too much we'd want to take. Unless their Knight of Ebon Legion gets out of hand, but if it gets out of hand, then we're probably just dead anyway. So I think I'm fine like that. I'll have a better feel for what the deck is trying to do here in game 2. So yeah, that was a nice example of what the Mizzium Tank is capable of. Just synergizes so well with like Burning Prophet, and we have the Dreadhorde Arcanist in hand that would have really helped us seal the deal. I'd like another spell or even a red source here, but we have Opt and Glimpse of Freedom. I think we'll keep the Pteramander. Honestly, it could suck if they have like a Nightmare Shepherd or something like that in their deck. Vampire, sure. We can just get the Burning Prophet down, just be mana efficient. And next turn we can Pteramander plus Callous Dismissal or Glimpse. If they want to attack, we'll take it. There's the Knight. Maybe there's some kind of a mono black aggro type list that got off to a pretty bad start last time. No attacks. Okay. We don't have the Trample yet. Next turn they can activate the Knight of Epiphany Legion. I think we'll just pass. If they want to attack both, we'll take it. If they want to spend their mana just on the Knight of Ebon Legion, that's fine. If you want to try to cast these, we can get a little bit more benefit off of them. Soren's Thirst, okay. That's their third land. They can attack with the Vampire of the Dire Moon pretty easily here. Perhaps their hand is a little slow, so I want to play it conservatively. Probably worth drawing here. Yeah, we don't want a Temple of Epiphany here. Would like them to start attacking with the Vampire of the Dire Moon, so we can start attacking with our creatures. Another Knight of the Evil Legion. Okay, still missing their land though, so that's good for us. Do need to figure out how to deal with this vampire though. Another land. Well, we can bounce it back, and that way we start trying to get in for some attacks. Slow them down a little bit, so if they do find their third land, they won't be able to, likely won't have activation for the knights. They'll probably just want to get their vampire back down. Cast an opt. That seems pretty reasonable. Why not cast a second one? Infuriate, that's perfect. Do we want to cast that or do we want to save that? I think we save it. We're pretty well off mana-wise. So the Dreadhorde Arcanist can attack next turn, get a free opt. If they want to attack here, that's fine. If they activate, then we will Stern Dismissal whichever one they activate. Yep, as I figured, they just want to get their vampire back. So they can attack, and we will take 2. Just gonna attack him with 1. Sure, no blocks. No activations on those. Yeah, I can't plan on bouncing this on their end step. Another Infuriate. Okay, we can close out this game pretty quickly. So we'll get the free opt. Save the Stern Dismissal for next attack. Yeah, looking for more spells here. Shock works. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Shock face here. Callous Dismissal seems fine. Infuriate. Just push as much damage across as possible in this step. Oh, we only have the 2. Let me see, what can we get back? Glimpse. I think I'd rather just have these in our graveyard still. Okay, opponent down to 6. So I need to gain life pretty quickly or have a sweeper. So we could glimpse, but that will pretty much get rid of everything in our graveyard. Still stuck on 3 lands, it looks like. No attacks for them, I would imagine. And just like that. Yep, so in a Prowess style deck, Burning Prophet, definitely a very underrated creature. Dreadhorde Arcanist obviously seen plenty of play, and in the first game you saw Mizzium Tank put in some work. So yeah, just trying to be efficient, close out the game quickly. We've got the Trample effects, nice powerful efficient spells, and Izzet colors. It's a nice fun little deck, and Mizzium Tank, not something to see every day. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hope to see you guys in the next one. Take care.